Hello everybody, this is Robbie and I am a homeschool mom of two kids. One is in 10th grade this year, one is in 2nd grade, but doing mostly 3rd grade work, so 2nd, 3rd grade. And then I have one that's already graduated. And today I'm coming to you with a product from Moor called Sharpeners Critical Thinking, Connecting School and Home. It's a grade 3 book. And I am an affiliate with Moor, so I am very excited to be talking to you today about this because I have a number of Moor products and we have really enjoyed those. So when I got the opportunity to do this, I was very excited. This is going to be the first of a series because I'll be reviewing these one at a time. And I usually prefer to review things as a group, but since the subject matter is going to be all over the place, I'm going to do these one at a time, and I'll create a playlist so that you can just kind of go through and see what items you might be interested in looking at and view them that way, rather than just try to do these all in one video. So this is the first video. And I chose the critical thinking book because I feel critical thinking skills are very important. And I basically treat that subject like any other core subject, for my younger one mainly. And we do these skills, or we practice these skills daily. And the reason for that is because, number one, I think it's important to have critical thinking skills, and number two, because I think it's something that my student in particular needs to work on. And I know there are some, teaching methods that truly believe that critical thinking skills come a little bit later, developmentally anyway, and they don't even really try to focus on critical thinking until the child is older. And I would have to agree with that based on my personal experience that kids that are, young kids tend to be very black and white in the way they see things. They're very good at memorization. They're very good at recalling answers. They're very good at, just knowing what the answer is, but not necessarily why the answer is what it is. So I like to, as long as it's not pushing too hard or, way too beyond their abilities, like to encourage critical thinking skills, because I know mine is just very black and white, and it's very hard to get him to articulate why he believes an answer is what it is, or why he thinks something is the way that it is, or why he even feels the way he does. So when I saw this, I was very curious about it. So to go through this book, and they go into a little blurb here about why they believe critical thinking is important, and then it's divided into topics. So we've got animals, things, places, and our world, and then within each of those topics you've got a couple of different sections. So that under animals you've got monkeys and bees. Under things we've got things we use, things we like. Under places, we have at home and at school. And under our world, we've got Mother Nature and Earth needs plants. And so we have completed the first section here on monkeys. And so I'll go through that one section because each section is very similar in the way it approaches the topic. And it covers most of the same things as, under each topic. So I'll go through what we did here for monkeys, and then kind of flip through, so you can see what's in the rest of it. And then there's a check sheet at the beginning of each section so that if you want to check off what's been completed, or if your student appreciates being able to see the progression, and what they've completed, then of course you have that available. So the different section starts off, or each section starts off with the facts page. And so there's some text. It is within their reading ability, so it can be completely independent if your your student is reading at level. And then they are to go in and then answer the questions on each page. Some of them are, where they have to articulate things that they may not normally have to think about. In this case, how would you describe a monkey to someone who's never seen one? That was tough for mine. So, to him, monkeys are cute. Monkeys have tails. Monkeys, the very basic things. So, well, look, monkeys are cute. See, that was the first thing he wrote. So I had to get him to expand on that. So it's a good exercise. These, there's some clues. They have to come up with the answers. There's some math. You'll see this throughout all of these, throughout this book, I should say. Some different math problems that write this sentence correctly. They're supposed to identify, any misspellings or any errors in the sentence. He recognized that he's supposed to spell that out. He recognized this was spelled incorrectly. And it looks like he did that fine. So then there is a section here about thinking, what's same and what's different between monkeys and humans. I thought that was an interesting exercise, and we had a lot of fun with that one. I do sit with him on these kinds of things. I don't just give him these worksheets to do on his own for busy work. I use them as opportunities to teach and to help him learn things. This was an idiom he'd never heard of, and I tried to walk him through and get him to figure out what it was. He couldn't figure it out because he'd never heard this expression before. So, and then on the next page, there's a whole page on idioms. So again, it was something he really couldn't logically figure out. He would have had to have heard these expressions. So if like, oh, my kid doesn't know those, and you want to skip it. He thought it was actually really fun to learn these. So we went ahead and did it. There's a little math problem here. Again, these are math word problems, which again, math problems or word problems require critical thinking skills. They have to figure out, it's not just having a problem there that they have to solve. They have to figure out how to solve it first. So I appreciated that here. They get to draw a monkey, so it's following directions and, then fine motor skills as well. Again, this is one that I might have chosen to skip as a little more on the busy work side of things, but I thought it was a good exercise for him and he enjoyed it, so we did it. I like the fact that, this might have more than one answer to it. There's not really a right or wrong answer. I mean, I guess there is, but, it was, a monkey can be cute. You see what I mean? Like, that could have been anything. But that's his basic answer for everything, is that it's cute when it relates to animals. So there you go. I thought this was an interesting exercise. Monkey begins with mon. And so they have a word exercise here for words that have mon in them. But the thing is, they need to have a knowledge of these terms in order to be able to solve this. So I had to sit with him and help him through it. But, it was a good exercise on vocabulary. But again, you can use your own judgment on whether or not you felt like this was a page worth doing. It was really mostly, in my mind, I'm thinking, he would already have to know these words in order to be able to figure these out. So there's that. All right, so this one I really liked because they go through step by step here on, it's paragraph writing, but it's also being able to step by step describe a process that you wouldn't normally need to describe. This was about eating a banana. So what process do you go through when you eat a banana? And they walk them through the process, and then they have them do it on their own with a different subject. So he had to describe how to eat an orange to someone who wouldn't know how to eat an orange. And I thought that was interesting. And again, it took thinking skills to be able to do this. I really liked that exercise. This was a good exercise too. I had to help him with it though, because again, depending upon their knowledge base, coming up with different kinds of foods that begin with the letters at the end. So pizza, you then had to come up with a word that began with A. Asparagus, he'd never even heard of asparagus because none of us like it, so I never make it. But then now he's got to come up with a food item that begins with S. He came up with sandwich. and hamburger and ravioli, which he came up with on his own, which surprised me because we don't usually eat ravioli because he doesn't like it. You know, so this worked out okay. There were a couple of things in here that I had to help with, but I thought this was a good exercise. I enjoyed it. This one, now this is interesting because as we went through this exercise, my 16-year-old commented as I was going through the instruction, he goes, "Mom, that sounds hard. I don't even know if I could do that." So literally this kid is wanting to watch the animals get fed at the zoo. And there's a schedule here of when the animals are getting fed and how long they're going to be fed. And he was supposed to design a schedule for Tyson so that he could see as many animals being fed as possible. And of course, he just wanted to go in order. And I'm like, no, we can't do that because he wants to see each animal being fed for the full time. He cannot see more than one animal at a time. So this was tough for him. So we went through the first few, and then he was able to finish it up. Like he got it at that point, and then he was able to finish it up. So I thought this was really good. But just keep in mind, some of these may be, you know, you may have a student that doesn't struggle with these, but then if you do, you might need to sit with them, you know, when they do these and kind of walk them through the thought process that it's going to take to do them. And I appreciate that. To me, that's good. If it's way too above their head, then we all get frustrated. But I don't think these are, but it does require some guidance on my part. And I'm okay with that. This was where they make the monkey paper chains. And, you know, I did skip this one. I think it's good for fine motor skills. I think he would have just been, you know, that's just not his thing. He'll cut stuff out, but he won't want to do this intricate kind of cutting. And I think he would just rush through it. And so I just didn't do that. And then I skipped this. Once you do the paper chains, you glue them here, and then they answer questions about monkeys. And to me, that just seemed like recall, and so I just skipped it. You know, but you can do what you want. And then we get into the subject of bees, and we haven't started this yet, but he loves bees, so I'm actually excited to do this one. So I'm going to kind of flip through here on these, and I'll stop whenever I see something that looks interesting to me. I like this where they have to classify things. I like these comparative exercises too. We do a lot of this kind of stuff in other thinking skills resources that we have. We have games that we use. We have other workbooks that we use. And so we kind of rotate through. So that's why we haven't done a whole lot of this one. But I do plan to continue to use this. So what else do we have here? Word problems, again, are always thinking skills in my book. What else do we have here? Look at this. This is awesome. Okay, so you discovered a new kind of insect. Answer the questions about your insect. So they have to make up an insect. This is the kind of stuff I really like because this is so hard for him to do. Not in the frustrating kind of way, but it's just, you know, he wants to just talk about things he knows. Okay, so now he's got to come up with an insect that nobody's ever heard of and make that up. This one, inference, this gives some clues about what's going to go in the word box, which I don't know that that's necessary, really, but okay, let's go through. Here's another cutting exercise and folding exercise. That looks like it would be really fun. We'll probably do that one. Okay, so now we're getting into a new subject. Things we use. Okay, they have to describe how they use different things. Pencils. Which do you like better and why? I love these kinds of things. You know, it helps them to identify why they like certain things and why they want to do certain things. They don't always necessarily know why, and I like the idea that they have to kind of think about that and figure it out. Again, if it's not too painful and pushing too hard. Some kids are very literal, and I've got one of those. So let's just kind of go through here. Here's another crafty kind of exercise. Okay, now we're into things we like. Okay, we like parties, we like pets. Get to talk about what they like and why. I like that. We like superheroes. If you could have one superpower, what would it be? This is fantastic. So you can see I'm a fan. I like this book. You know, once in a while I come across something that I think is just, yeah, we can just take it or leave it. But I really actually like this book a lot. And I do plan on using it next year. I mean, like I said, this is the end of 3rd grade for us for the most part. But because this is a skill that's a little more difficult for him, I didn't want to ask for the 4th grade book and then have it be too difficult. So I felt like the 3rd grade book was a good place for him, and we'll continue to do it next year. I don't think it's going to be too easy for him. But you can always, you know, take a look at these books and view the samples, the sample pages, and see, you know, which grade level you think is going to be more appropriate for your student. My family, my grandmother's daughter is your, see, this requires some thinking. I even struggle with some of this kind of stuff, you know. My grandmother's daughter is my mother. So, you know what I mean? These are simple, but, you know, the mother's father's grandmother's daughter's cousin would be my, yeah, well, anyway. She won't ask anyone with 3 reasons why she won't ask for help. Okay, so again, this is the kind of thinking stuff that he needs, that my kid needs. Jessica's having trouble with her math homework, but she won't ask anyone to help her. Give 3 possible reasons why she won't ask for help. He has to put himself in the shoes of another person or think about what it might be like for him and why he might not ask for help and then come up with the answers. And I think that's fantastic. You know, this is, you know, crossword puzzles, you know, he likes those, but, you know, they can be kind of, you know, recall. So you just use your own judgment whether or not you want to do those. At school, you know, as a homeschooler, this is where it gets a little vague in terms of, you know, life experience, but we do have 1 day a week where he goes to classes, so he has a classroom environment for that stuff. It's very, you know, it's fun classes like art and music and PE and stuff like that, but you know, this section you may find that you have to skip some things that if they can't relate to them. So that's the only thing here. But I'm sure, you know, field trips that you might take with other homeschool families or do as a family, they can relate to that. So, oh yeah, where should we go? And then they've got a list here and they get to rank them. Find the answer to each clue by using the letters in these words. Those can be tough, so that looks like a good one. Might need a little help. Now we got Mother Nature, reuse and recycle. So they're getting some, you know, lessons in here on environment as well. Rainbows. Here's some more word problems. Garbage. Okay, write a sentence that is always true about garbage, sometimes true. That's a good thinking exercise. But you can see it, some of these, it seems like it's getting progressively a little more difficult. So, but not excessively so, but I can tell that this is, you know, these kind of exercises it seems to be getting a little more thought-provoking as we go along. This is, you know, a skill. If they have this skill set, this is going to be really easy. So again, you can decide if you want to do that or if they just skip it. But for the most part, I think this is going to be a really great resource, and I am happy about it. Plants, right? 3 reasons the earth needs plants. 3 things that all trees have in common. like this one seems to be more information recall based on the fact sheet, but this one is definitely something that requires more thought. So anyway, I think there's plenty of material in here. I've seen a few things that we may or may not do, depending, because, you know, when you're covering so many different things in a homeschool day, you know, sometimes some of this kind of stuff seems unnecessary, but I see a lot in here that I think is valuable. And so I do recommend the book. They have the answer key in the back, which I appreciate. And these pages are all perforated, so you can tear these out. You can copy them. I think I don't know what their rules are on reproducing. I shouldn't say that, but you can tear them out at least. And of course, if you don't want them to have the answers in the back, you can tear those out as they're working through this if you work from the book itself. So there's other skill sharpener books in the series. So hopefully I'll be doing all of these at some point. But definitely keep watching. I do have several more books in my possession that I purchased myself that I'm going to review. So if you like this kind of thing, I do specialize in reviews on my channel. I do some other topics as well, but for the most part, reviews are what I'm known for. And so if you like this sort of thing, please do subscribe and click that little notification bell so that you know when I when I post more videos. I do these when I have time, so they're sporadic. I'm not one of those that, you know, does a video. I do 3 videos a week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I can't do that. I wish I could. So I do them when I have time, and over the summer I do way more videos than I do during the school year when I'm busy homeschooling. So thank you so much for coming by and taking a look at this, and I hope you have a great day and that this was helpful for you. Thanks.